Welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen's Call podcast with host Lane Nordland.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Cattlemen's Call podcast. Thanks for answering the call once again. Of course, all of us are impacted by the coronavirus, whether it's in town, in the countryside, or out in Washington, D.C. It's on the headlines everywhere we go. But you know what? In the ranching communities, cattlemen and women continue to carry on and take care of their livestock and make sure that consumers have a product to eat at the end of the day. And joining us for our show today, our guest comes from the state of California with a livestock marketing background. Cindy Tews from Fresno. She's with Fresno Livestock Commission, is on the phone. Cindy, how are things going out in California here on this bright and sunny day in Bozeman, Montana, where I'm recording? So I'm assuming it's hopefully bright and sunny out in California.
Yes, Lane. Hello from Fresno to everyone. It is sunny currently with rain in the forecast. The favorite way to set up the events of the day. No one listening can ever feel like they feel when rain's in the forecast for so many of us that have been exceptionally dry out here for most of the season, and then with just recently starting to get some rain. So on that part of it, our grass conditions are very good for us where I am locally. So feeling very, very thankful that our calves are what our old partner who passed away, Bonner Sample, says they're putting on a pair of pants this time of year. So, which you can almost see day by day. Truly a blessing to be involved in this industry with the people that are involved in it. Some trying times, no doubt. Some huge impacts on our market. And for those of us that are selling, we're fall calvers, so it's go time. And our calves did sell this week. We use video marketing, which we represent. We are reps under John Rogers in Western Video Marketing, and we were okay with our sale. We were very, very grateful for the hard work that Rick Machado and Holly Foster and John Rogers put into helping us get our calves marketed and the exposure that video sale brings. That being said, traditionally, that sale is the biggest attended sale in the adjoining county for us, and that did not happen. It was done privately with very few in attendance, the reps and the phone working the phones, and the video being publicized on the internet. So that being said, that phase is behind us, and like all producers, we started this end of project began for us 18 months ago. And 18 months ago, no one could even fathom the current conditions happening, not just in my little neck of the woods, but in the entire world.
Of course, our family, we ship in the fall up here in Montana, and it's 21 degrees here this morning. I was just talking to Dad, and he's about 75% wrapped up on his place for spring calving. But I can't imagine. I mean, obviously, we're going to start thinking about marketing for this fall, but what were some of those thoughts going through your mind and through everyone's minds discussing, what happens if these calves don't bring a price where we're going to break even? What were some of those discussions on top of the anxiety that COVID has brought?
For us, thinking about marketing and the time leading up to it, it didn't change our day-to-day operations. They still need to be branded. They still need to have a second round of shots. They still need to have a check weigh. They still need to be videoed. Their lives are not impacted by what our lives are impacted. And I like to take that when I go to the ranch, and I like to think about that. And the value of my cow only changes upon sale. Her value stays the same day in and day out. My calves were valued on Wednesday. Up until that point, they were the same product that we've raised for decades. Do we modernize? Yes, we do. And we grow with the needs and the demands of the purchaser and the consumer at the retail end. So we do answer those calls. But for us, our day in and day out, we watch the market. We discuss, well, what's our option? If we don't sell, do we go on and put them, our calves sell as 6 weights, so they go on to another grass season, or go on to someone that's going to take them to the next step. So for us, we could have gone in that direction and gone to a grow yard and held them, or we could have gone to another grass. We feel like we took our product to the level that we wanted to take it to, and based on where we needed to be financially, we felt like, all things considered, this was a good sale for our product.
Good. Well, I do want to congratulate you as well, because I saw just yesterday on Facebook that it's been 30 years since your family purchased Fresno Livestock Commission. Congratulations on that. I know it probably wasn't the celebration that you and your dad probably had in mind, but again, 30 years of hard work there at the livestock market. Let's maybe talk about that a little more, and your dad, and just that aspect of the business as well.
Well, quick math will tell you that my dad, being 50 when he purchased it, will let you know that he's 80 at this point and loves what he does. He gets up in the mornings on sale days, and he literally, this is how I grew up. I'm sure this is how it is in his household. He will hum as he's walking around, lo-de-do-de-do-de-da-da-da. And while he's doing that, he's formulating in his mind some sale orders, who we might call, what's gonna get put in what pen, how the conversation's going to go with the staff, how, and when we walk through the door, if my dad's the first one at the office, which is most of the time, we are greeted with a good morning. How you folks this morning? So my dad is a genuinely positive person who finds something positive in most situations. Does he have some down days? You bet he does. But for the most part, he's the life raft, and he gives others buoyancy. I feel very, very blessed to be able to have a great working relationship with my father, and to be able to spend time with him, and to do what I love while he's doing what he loves. He is our auctioneer. He has been from the very beginning. He started out with this passion coming from being an order buyer, and has always wanted to purchase a market. So he did that in 1990, and we have grown since that time.
When you look at obviously the cow-calf aspect of this, and also running a livestock market as well, those are some busy days, long days. What are some of the changes that you've maybe seen in livestock? Because I know you're very active in the Livestock Marketing Association as well, but what are some of those things that have been implemented at the sale barn over the last 30 years from day one till now that has just improved the efficiency of the operation and benefited the folks that are consigning cattle there?
I would say communication and involvement. We feel very strongly being involved in association work. We gain a lot of knowledge from others by networking. So becoming a part of the for one thing, being BQA certified. So then we learn that, put that into our toolbox, and our other employees that are at the market are also BQA certified. So they get to see the benefits of that. Then we get to branch out, and we get to talk to the producers about that. And hey, did you know it's better to do this way? And have you seen the information about that? And to go and share that story on association boards and committees and public speaking. When we deal with our producers, we do a ton of communication sitting on a tailgate. We just sit down and talk about anything under the sun. We can be talking about market conditions. We can be talking about their families. After 30 years of being in business, we've talked to the grandpas and grandmas and the husbands and wives, and now, another generation my dad has visited it with when he goes and drives up a driveway and calls on customers. So that broad knowledge and that customer relation, these people are our friends at this point. We've been to weddings and birthdays and anniversary parties and people will ask us questions about all kinds of stuff.
So obviously, Fresno being pretty much smack dab in the middle of California, what are some of the issues? You mentioned, obviously, being a part of associations and being boots on the ground. What are some of those key issues that concern you as ranchers, as livestock market operators? What are some of those key things that you go out and educate consumers on, or maybe go north up to Sacramento to the state capitol during legislative sessions? What are some of those main things that have been impacting the industry in California on the West Coast the last few years?
Fresno County has approximately 1 million people for population, and a lot of that's rural communities. We're a huge farming area. Fresno City is 500,000, very urban. There's a lot of, as we all know, misconceptions about our industry. We go out and we speak to different clubs as we're invited to and tell our story. And we've had Farm and Ranch Day in the fairgrounds at Fresno, where we have fourth graders all come and we show them how a rope's used and why a rope might be used. And we explain to them about hamburger, and we try and teach about the process. And while we're educating the kids, we're also a lot of times educating the parents. The amount of, wow, I didn't know that comments are pretty significant. And we feel that it's just easy to tell our story. And that story I've been telling, going to what we would call our steak and eggs breakfast in Sacramento, that is with California Cattlemen's Association. I've gone to also Washington, D.C. many times. I lobbied there, and I use the word lobby. It doesn't really feel right coming out of my mouth. It feels like I'm trying to persuade, but I guess I am trying to persuade someone to a lot of the simplicities of our lives and how those simplicities parlay into food on the table. And so being involved with the process of telling the story is a passion of mine, and having to get on an airplane and do it doesn't even bother me. In fact, my most recent trip was in March. I did go to Washington, D.C. This is my 10th year of telling my story. And I went to the offices and talked about the needs that we have, the challenges that we face, and reached out in getting some of the people on board by those personal relationships. So the personal relationships that I've developed, not just with customers, but also by seeing people in their offices.
So are some of those key issues that affect the lives of cattle producers in California that you've shared, whether in Sacramento or out in Washington, D.C. lately?
Well, our steak and eggs got canceled this year, and so unfortunately we were unable to do that. I will, as a side note, say that for the past 2 years, my niece, who is now 13, has been invited to go and give the invocation at Steak and Eggs. And so she has gone up there and also experienced going to the offices and telling her story and how it impacts yet another generation. So this year we did not go to Sacramento, and she was as disappointed as I am. I did, however, as I mentioned, go to Washington, D.C., and those issues that we talked about were dealer trust and the ELD transportation challenges to move anything live around, certainly cattle, but it impacts all the way down to bees that need to be moved in a timely manner.
So you mentioned BQA certification, and a lot of people, they go through and become BQA certified, but then there's also folks out there that ask the question, well, why should I be BQA certified? Obviously, your livestock market is. What are some of the returns that producers have seen, and just by going through these educational courses, again, helping out that bottom line a little more?
As a direct return, I can't tell you how that parlays into it, but I can tell you that when talking to a consumer to say, we have a verification process that we go through that ensures the handling is at the highest level, and here is my certification. So that relates to that consumer or that person without a lot of knowledge. Okay, you are doing something over and above just getting up in the morning and feeding, or getting up in the morning and because of the negative press that can go on, I feel like that's a tool to combat it.
And especially in California, there's definitely way more people, and it's just, I know how big the produce and, of course, livestock production is in California, but I think sometimes people forget about that. But just being able to have that interaction and to show these folks that are multiple generations removed from the farm or ranch these tools that are out there, it truly does help build consumer confidence in beef.
I agree with that. And then we are also right here, very nearby wine country. So oftentimes, hey, there's a nice piece of red meat on your plate, and there's a nice a glass of red wine that's going to pair with it. And we want to put our best foot forward. And most of our feet forward are the best ones. We have awesome stories to tell. One of the things as a livestock market owner, a very positive to tell is the increase in activity in the community on sale days. So 5 days a week for us, we have 2 sales a week. 5 days a week, people can drive by and think, well, I wonder what goes on there. And 2 days a week, you cannot find a place to park. It's very, very active. So what does that mean to a community? Well, for us, we're a pin drop kind of community outside of Fresno, and we service average of 100 buyers and 100 sellers on Saturdays, which is our all classes day of selling: pigs, goats, sheep, cattle. So that pin drop in that community means that person that came to town traveled from sometimes a far distance, sometimes not. Maybe they pool their trips into the community. They buy some tires, do some grocery shopping. Certainly the amount of fuel that's sold at the gas station increases. Our cafe does a land office business. And so we feel very fortunate to be able to have that as a magnet for our community, our small rural area.
Did you always know that you would be coming back to production agriculture and to the livestock market, or did you have other career paths in mind and have that moment where, like, you know what, I need to be involved in agriculture? What were your goals when you were a little girl, I guess? And let's talk about your journey to the livestock market and to production ag.
Well, it's funny you used, did I come back? I never left. I grew up country. I'm a child of the 60s. My companions growing up were my parents, my grandparents, my sister. I'm fourth generation from that dirt. So my day to day as I evolved, involved saddling my horse and riding around, and my dog would go with me, and I had barnyard pets when I got back. As I got older and more skilled in my horsemanship, my mother would let me venture further away from the place, and I would find myself going over to a local feed yard and riding pins. I might have been 10, 11, 12 years old. It was a mile and a half away, flat ground, and I would ride pins with the pin riders. And one of my dear friends today still comments about how I would show up over there, and he would say, "Well, Cindy, how do the cattle look?" "Oh, they look decent." I mean, what did I know? I was 10. And so that love is something that has stayed within me. Right out of high school, I went to work at a local sale barn and worked there. And then I went to work for a 3-practice veterinary hospital. I just thought, wow, this is great. My first day, they handed me a roll of paper towels and a squirt bottle and said, "There's the kennels." So I cleaned kennels. And when you get done with that, there's the stalls. And so I developed a great sense of cleaning for and caring for other people's livestock and pets. When I left that practice 12 years later, they had grown to 8 veterinarians, and I had grown into being the manager of the office. I then went to work for my father. This would be in 1997, and got my feet wet on what was involved in marketing. At that point, my dad had been the owner there for 7 years. And 4 years after that, so 2001, he offered me a buy-in where I bought 50% of the business. And that lit a fire in me to go up to the next level and be involved in committee and board work. And so I was asked to serve on the Fresno Kings County Cattlemen's Association, and I served there. I still serve there. I was asked by Livestock Marketing Association to serve under Kristen Parman on membership services. It was actually Jim Santamasso's tenure as president with LMA, and he asked me to serve. And during that time, we developed version 1 of animal handling guidelines that went out to over 800 member markets in the US and Canada. I served on the California Beef Council. I am currently on the exec committee, and I am realizing through all of this how much I'm missing my interaction with all the people in other facets that we all hold hands when we talk to the consumer. So whatever facet of developing and seeing this product through, we're all holding hands to get to the end stage. And through that hand holding, I want to help people and lift them up. I want everyone to be the best version of themselves that they can be.
Well, I know how you mentioned that you really never left the production agriculture, and I just enjoyed your ringtone when I called you for the recording this morning. It was Barbara Mandrell's "I Was Country Before Country Was Cool." So I mean, I should have known that just by your ringtone.
Well, and it wasn't cool. It was not cool in the 80s to go to high school in an urban area. And here I would be in my boots and jeans. Now, now everything is A-okay. But back then, they thought I was cool, but I didn't think it was cool. And so I wanted to fit in with them, and finding out years later at high school reunions, oh, we just always thought that was so cool that you wore your boots or you did that. Really? Because I kind of felt like a hick. But now I embrace it. And so that wearing my boots, when I go and visit elected officials, and they are my elected official and they are your elected official. They are elected and they are there to listen to our care and concerns. When I go and do that, you will always see me wearing my boots. That is my first introduction. Whenever somebody passes in a hallway, the guys have on their cowboy hats, they have on their boots. Cindy has on her boots too. And I put that message forward. Just all they have to do is look at me and know that I come from some part of an industry that is unique. And my secondary as a funny, and this is just a funny, that it's a good idea to wear boots when you walk the halls from the elected officials, because you just might find something that you might find out in your pasture as well.
Very, very true up there on Capitol Hill. But you mentioned that passion and the knowledge that came with becoming active with whether it's a county agricultural organization or all the way up to the state and national levels. Obviously you've been very active in that since the late 90s, but if you would have become involved later in your career path with these advocacy groups, do you feel what disadvantage would you have without being involved with your state and national organizations?
I'd say if you feel a need and you see something that needs to be filled, jump in and do it. Start making phone calls. Find somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody and get started on it, because we can all be better by helping each other. Most people get involved in whatever it is because it hits home to their front doorstep. And when we sit on our ranches or we sit in our homes and we say to ourselves, yeah, somebody needs to do something about that. You guys are all the somebodies, just like we're all the somebodies.
Cindy, what's your message to all the young women out there that are having the opportunity to come back to an operation or start their own business and maybe feel that the old boys club won't let them become involved? What's your advice to them, whether it's at the county, state, or national level?
Don't be intimidated. Find a strong woman that can help you, that can be your role model. I was fortunate that I had Nancy Robinson that took me by the hand and explained to me about lobbying and gave me a great example. She worked for a Livestock Marketing Association for years and years and years and just has a vast experience. She believed in me. She gave me a vote of confidence that helped propel me on to a new level in that stage of my life. We have watched, as women, we have watched other women succeed, and all of us has the ability to do that. It's not a gender-based job. It is a job, and all of us have the ability to do it.
What are your future plans to help improve agriculture, whether it be the Fresno Livestock Commission, the ranching aspect of things? What do you want to do in the next short term to help improve agriculture, your efficiency, and help make a difference? What are some of those goals looking like?
I'm carrying a baton, and many others are carrying a baton, and that baton will pass. I feel a strong passion to reach out to younger or not younger women and men that want to better our communities, our industries, our lifestyles. I want to also encourage each individual's passion. I have before I've taught Sunday school. I want to have that passed on to children. And if I can be a help to that, then I want to do that. I serve on my church council, and so I want to be a part of that. I want to help our employees. We have on Saturdays, we have approximately 20 employees. Most of those are kids that come from the high school. They're involved in ag. I want to show them this can be done. You can get involved here. Work hard, learn as much as you can, be as kind as you can, and do the best job that you can.
One of my final questions is, Cindy, do you remember the first time we met? It was at a bar.
I do. Yeah, in my mind, I just went, well, what do I talk about now? Yes, I do. I believe that we were in Phoenix, and you and Russell were there sitting. And so somehow we all struck up a conversation. Luckily for us at NCBA convention in Phoenix, we could sit outside and we soaked up some vitamin D, and we might have had one or two hops along the way while we were soaking up our vitamin D in a responsible manner. And then I believe there was a selfie involved, and a mutual friend, McCall Linky. Yes, McCall, a mutual friend, said, "Hey, what are you two doing together without me?" or something like that. and so there it began. And then through the pluses of social media, here we've stayed in connection since that time.
Yep, and running into each other, whether it be out in D.C. or the cattle industry conventions. And again, you took your niece out there 2 years ago, I know, for the NCBA legislative conference, and she got to experience all the work that goes on Capitol Hill, too. I'm sure that left a very lasting impression on her as well.
Very lasting, yes. That was during my tenure as the second vice president for California Cattlemen's Association, and we were able to do some great work. She came along and ended up learning about how easy it is to tell your story. You just sit down and tell your story. And so through the 3 days of meeting with elected officials, after about halfway through the second day, I said, "Presley, do you have anything you'd like to say?" And she chimed in and delivered a beautiful message from her perspective. Obviously, she doesn't carry a vote, but someday she will.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cindy, I just want to thank you for taking time here this morning to share a little more on your story. I know you're probably shaping up for your Saturday all-class sale, but any last tips or anything that you would just like to share with everyone listening to the Cattlemen's Call podcast here today before I let you get back to your daily routine?
I'd like to thank all the producers, all the support of the producers, all of the people listening, every one of you that has an interest just in tuning in. I'd like to thank you all for what you do for all of us. We all reap the benefits of the product that gets put on our plate. And thank you. A big tip of the Resistol to all of you.
All right. Well, again, Cindy Tews, thank you so much for phoning in today from Fresno, California. Again, you can learn more about Fresno Livestock Commission online as well. And again, thank you so much, Cindy, for taking time. And I know self-distancing mode is still in full effect across much of the nation, but work still needs to be done out in the countryside and at our livestock markets as well. So thank you so much for taking time today, and I hope to see you soon down the road.
You bet, Lane. Thanks so much for including me in all of this, and thanks for your friendship, too. It's greatly appreciated.
Same here. That greatest thing about being involved in all these organizations is the people you get to meet and the knowledge and discussions you have along the way. So, Cindy, it's great to call you a friend, and thank you so much for joining us. And for all of our listeners, answering the Cattlemen's Call here once again. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Lane Nordlund. Make sure and subscribe and share the podcast with your friends online. Have Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to NCBA's Cattlemen's Call podcast with Lane Nordland. For more information, visit ncba.org and make sure to subscribe to the podcast today.